Hi, it's Celeste Majors, your canary in the coal mine. Today I want to talk about airborne allergies. A lot of my friends right at this particular time of the year, it's early summer, late spring, and we've had a very heavy, lot of rain this spring, so a lot of things are in bloom. And people who have the spring kind of allergies are very miserable right now. They're coughing and blowing their nose, and they're all stuffed up, and they can't sleep at night, and their eyes itch and their throat itches, and they're just miserable. And I understand how that is because I used to have allergies like that. Only mine were the late summer, early fall kind of allergies. I was miserable for most of August and September until we got a hard frost here in the Midwest. And they used to call it ragweed allergies. I don't know what they call it now, but it isn't really ragweed, it's really grasses. And so I was miserable when I lived in Illinois. This all started when I was about 8 or 9. And it came on about the same time some of my migraine headaches started up too, around that same time. And at that time, we didn't put it together with any of the autoimmune conditions that I now know that my genetics make me prone to. It was just allergies. And so I took some medications over the counter like nasal sprays and just tried to bear through it. And that's what some people do, only nowadays there's a lot more meds that they can take over the counter or prescription that make them feel somewhat better. And anyway, I had it when I grew up in Illinois. I still had those same allergies when I moved to Missouri. I still had those same allergies when I moved to Indiana. I still had those same allergies when I moved to Ohio. In other words, this whole Midwestern region pretty much gave me the same problems. And then at other times, because of my work moved me around the country a lot, I moved to other parts of the country where I didn't have those allergies. Like I didn't have those allergies in Florida, where the plants are quite different than they are in the Midwest, and I didn't have those allergies in California, where again the plants are quite different than they are in the Midwest. So about 11 years ago, I had to come back to the Midwest, and honestly, up till then, I'd been kind of very deliberately staying away from the Midwest because I just didn't want to have to experience that a couple months a year. But in the meantime, I had done certain things to improve my health, especially changing my diet. And but I had to come back to the Midwest because my elderly mother needed assistance, and she was still here in Illinois. So I was reluctant to come back, but it was the I guess the first time I had to come back, it was Easter weekend, so it was April. And I thought, well, I'm only staying until the allergy season starts, and then I'm going. I'm out of here because I am not going to be miserable. I'm going back to Florida where I was living at the time, where I'm not miserable. Well, it turns out I had to stay longer, and the misery didn't come on. And I'm like waiting, second week in August, I'm like expecting a full-blown reaction to start, and it's not happening. And then I started to think about it more, and now I've been back here in Illinois for 11 years, and I still don't have those allergies. And what I'm going to say is I attribute that to the fact that I have reduced so many other allergens in my life through my healthy living, through the way I've changed what I eat, through the way I've changed my surroundings in my home by taking away toxic chemicals, by reducing the toxic body products that I might have been using. In other words, I've really cleaned up my whole living environment. And I think it's a lot like an overflowing sink or an overflowing bathtub. I think that we keep piling on these things that make our body irritated. And we keep filling up the bathtub and filling up the bathtub. And nowadays there's even more things added to the bathtub than when I was growing up. There's a lot more toxic chemicals in our environment. There's a lot more household products. I mean, we used to use vinegar and baking soda for cleaning agents. We didn't have all these fancy products. And these fancy products all have toxicity in them that are adding to our total toxic load. And so by cleaning up, especially the diet, especially my living environment, of reducing as many of these things as possible, and the reason why I did that was because as I aged, I developed autoimmune conditions that were quite apparent, like rheumatoid arthritis and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And I found that when I made those changes in my diet and lifestyle, it significantly improved the pain in my joints, the swelling, so I was completely willing to do that. And an unexpected benefit is it also got rid of the allergies. I basically don't have any airborne allergies right now. And I think it's like, you can fill up the bathtub to overflowing and then get out the mop and keep mopping up the floor, but the water's still running into the bathtub, so you have to keep mopping the floor continuously. In my mind, that's like taking the prescription or the over-the-counter medications. You're just mopping up the floor all the time. Or you can turn off the tap. You can stop the new inflow of the things that are causing the bathtub to overflow. And I think that all the changes I've made in my diet and my lifestyle are doing that. I've stopped as much of the inflow as I possibly can. And then I do other things to sort of get rid of the toxicity as much as I can, like use a sauna to sweat or exercise to sweat, so that I'm trying to detox my body on a relatively continuous basis. So I wanted to put that idea out to you. If you have allergies or you know anybody who has allergies, you might find that you benefit from reducing the total toxic load on your life by changing what you're eating and changing the environment around you to the extent that you can do that. So that was my health tip for today. And as usual, I want you to get well and stay well. Thanks.